What are you planning on doing to harness the student vote?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, I'm very concerned about the rising rate of unemployment for young people. I'm also concerned about the levels of student debt that people graduate with today. And I do believe that one of the best ways to deal with that is to make sure that our tuition rates are not too high. I believe in the target of keeping them at the national average or better. But secondly, to also make sure there are good paying jobs here in Nova Scotia for people to graduate into.
So what's your view on the funding structure from the province to the universities? And how would you do that?
I believe in stable funding for our universities. That means multiple year granting so that the universities can plan for the future.
So will you be reversing, if elected, the funding cuts the NDP have put in place?
I'm being very careful not to make promises like that, which people have seen to be empty promises, because until you see the state of the books, they're almost impossible to make and keep, and I don't want to disappoint people. I do believe that our universities are a great source of potential wealth and new entrants to the workforce for our province, and so I want to see them funded appropriately. But throwing money at the universities without any social objectives is just as bad as taking money from them. Well, we would reinvest in our universities, but we want to make sure that that money is used to achieve certain objectives that I have. One of which is that it go to tuition rates that are no higher than the national average. That's a very well-defined objective that we would tie future increases in university funding to. Another is that it not be going into bloated administration of universities.
How will you help fund universities so they're creating jobs?
Well, there are plenty of places in the rest of Canada and around the world where the government has invested directly in university research to build up that great capacity of research to the benefit of everybody, whether it's developing new products that can be patented and turned into real companies that hire people and create jobs, or whether it's applied science that helps our offshore develop or makes our existing industries like the forestry more efficient. Those are research objectives that I have that I think our universities are very well suited to deliver for the province, and we would attach real funding to make those things happen.
So what kinds of things would you be doing to help low-income and middle-class families afford to go to university?
No one in our province, in our country, should be denied higher education because of their family income. So there's a couple of things we need to do. One I already talked about, which is tuition relief, to make sure our tuition rates aren't out of line with the rest of the country. That's important because it does determine access to universities. It also means ensuring that the system of tuition rebates and credits is as robust as it could possibly be, so that those that are incurring student debts are able to manage them after they graduate.
What would you do with the Nova Scotia student bursary?
To the extent that we're able to reinvest in our universities as a government, and in return for hitting certain policy objectives, making sure the universities themselves have healthy bursary programs available.
So the current MOU between the province and the university says that they should be looking at possibly considering taking the cap off out-of-province student tuitions. What would you do in relation to that?
I'm very concerned that we don't price our university out-of-province tuition so high that we actually end up hurting ourselves by stopping the flow of out-of-province students to Nova Scotia, both other Canadians and international students. The differential fees are already twice as much or more than the tuition that we charge to Nova Scotian students. I don't have a problem with some differential because Nova Scotians are paying for the universities, but we do live in a worldwide market for talent and for students. And we have to make sure that that differential doesn't get so high that we actually choke off international students coming to Nova Scotia universities.